Hello, everyone. Happy Friday again. Welcome to another week of APL Readers Corner, our book review discussion. I have the awesome Miss Tessie here with me. She's my floating head guest, not ghost. We are going to be discussing We're Going to Need More Wine by Gabrielle Union. The genre for this week was biographies, so we decided to choose biography by a famous person, although, I mean, they pretty much all are. So the idea behind this Reader's Corner is it's a book discussion review. We choose books basically based on their availability on Hoopla because both us and you readers can borrow it right away. And it's also staff preference because we are also reading the books along with you. So we kind of do have a little bit of a say in the matter. We review a book from a different genre each week while the libraries are still remaining closed to the public. You can watch and join in. You can ask questions while we're doing this live feed, or even maybe express your views or your comments about the book if you had read it, or maybe if you decide that you want to read it after we have finished this live feed. So, like I said before, this week our genre pick was biography. So, the definition of a biography is a description of a real person's life, including factual details as well as stories from their life. They usually include information about the subject's personality, motivations, and other kinds of intimate details excluded in a general overview or profile of a person's life. The vast majority of biography examples are written about people who are or were famous, such as politicians, actors, athletes, and so on. So, makes sense. We picked a celebrity. Um, there are actually three different types of biography, if you don't know. So there's the general biography. This narrates the story of a person as written by another person or a writer. It's actually further then divided into five different categories. So there's a popular, historical, literary, reference, and fictional biography, which I did not know. Uh, yeah, right? Second is an autobiography, which kind of makes sense, tells the story of a person's own life. While the person writes their own account, they also, I guess, can take guidance from a ghostwriter or a collaborator. The third and final type is a memoir, which actually this one is more categorized as. So a memoir is more focused writing than an autobiography or a biography. In a memoir, a writer narrates the details of a particular event or situation that occurred in his or her lifetime. So I kind of refer that as to like a snapshot of someone's life versus a biography, which is like a photo album. Some of the common themes or characteristics, they describe and discuss the life of a real person. The information is based on fact. Incidents, dialogue, and people are accurate, and they are from a reliable source using first-person accounts when available. The person's life story is told with respect to other people and events of the time in which they lived. It develops an understanding of the places, times, and events and other people when the person lived. It tells a story in a style and tone that the reader/listener can relate to the person and believe in their humanness. And it develops a person as a real and interesting person, not a persona or stereotypical member of a particular group. That I found very interesting as well. So We're Going to Need More Wine by Gabrielle Union is actually categorized as a biography, but more as a memoir because this is the summary is that it's a powerful collection of essays about gender, sexuality, race, beauty, Hollywood, and what it means to be a modern woman. In this moving collection of thought-provoking essays infused with her unique wisdom and deep humor, Gabrielle Union uses that same fearlessness to tell astonishingly personal and true stories about power, color, gender, feminism, and fame. She tackles a range of experiences, including bullying, beauty standards, and competition between women in Hollywood, growing up in white California suburbia, and then spending summers with her Black relatives in Nebraska, coping with crushes, puberty, and the divorce of her parents. Genuine and perceptive, Union bravely lays herself bare, uncovering a complex and courageous life of self-doubt and self-discovery with incredible poise and brutal honesty. Throughout this, she compels us to be ethical and empathetic, and reminds us of the importance of confidence, self-awareness, and the power of sharing truth, laughter, and support. So Gabrielle, so her full name is actually Gabrielle Monique Union Wade. Union is her original. What's the word for original? Maiden name. Wow. Wade is her married name. Oh, it's Friday. She's an American actress, voice artist, an activist, and an author. She began her career in the 90s. She appeared on television sitcoms before landing some of the teenage comedic films like She's All That, 10 Things I Hate About You, and obviously her most known role was in the 2000 film Bring It On. She is the author of this memoir, We're Going to Need More Wine, and she is actually an activist who works on issues around women's health and violence against women. Some of the reviews about the book were pretty good, all over, averaging about 4.5-ish. And what I loved is that on Hoopla, it offered both the audiobook and the ebook. And the audiobook, the narrator was Gabrielle Union herself, which I think both Tessie and I actually listened to, and I very much enjoyed. But I'd love to hear what Tessie thought of it.
Yeah, I thought this book was amazing, so I'm not surprised that it had such high reviews. I listened to the audiobook, which was narrated by her, and it was just having this story, having her stories being told in her voice, made such a difference, and I felt like I could relate to her more as a person, and I felt like she introduces the book and she's talking about how she wants to tell you her stories, and she's talking to you like she's like making a new friend. And I thought that was a really nice way to go into it, because like the entire book, it feels like you're one of her friends and you're sitting there and she's telling you these stories, and some of them are very funny and some of them are like really heartbreaking, and some of them are like with tough topics. So I love the book.
Yeah, no, I love exactly what you said, because every time she would say, like, you reader, welcome to this, it was like she was really welcoming us into her life. She was opening herself up more than, most people normally do. And she had a lot to say. And like you said, you got to see her more as a human and not just as the celebrity that you kind of know of. You learned a lot about her life. She's had a lot of hardships in her life, and learning how she not only got through a lot of those hardships in her life, but then also even her experiences becoming a celebrity and still now being a celebrity. It was really interesting, and you definitely it shed new light on her character as a person. Um, so I guess then I could probably go into that. Did you think it fit some of the genre themes, some of those, like, the idea that it was in a style and tone that we can relate to? It develops a person as a real person. So did you think it fit some of those themes of a biography?
Oh, most definitely. Well, like a memoir biography, because she didn't go into every single part of her life, and she jumped back and forth between her younger years to something significant when she was older, and then back. So it wasn't a linear narrative. So it wouldn't be a book that you would pick up and you'd be like, I'm going to know everything about Gabrielle Union. Because I know some biographies, like with politicians or historical figures, you pick it up and you're using it for research or even for fun, where you pick it up and you're like, I'm going to know every single thing about this person. Like, that's not the point of this book. I think the point of it was to tell stories that she thought were important and to bring across messages that she thought people should hear.
Do you think, because you had kind of mentioned that you don't really read a lot of biographies, did you like that this was more of a collection of stories instead of, like you said, a linear narrative?
I think coming from her, I liked it that way. I don't think I would have enjoyed a linear narrative. I don't think it would have worked with her voice, because she put in a lot of humor and she put in a lot of tough topics. So I think if it had gone from when she was younger, and then like I feel like it wouldn't flow as well as it did. I like the way that she put it together.
Yeah, I wasn't, before we did this, I think I had mentioned this before. I thought it was going to be a true biography.
Mm,
And as you're listening to it, and like you said, she jumps back and forth, but it's based on the topics of that chapter, that it wasn't until the end that it was like, okay, so it's following a topic based on each chapter as it relates to her life. So,
mhm,
yes, in the beginning, she does actually talk about herself growing up in Omaha, Nebraska, and then moving to Pleasanton, California, and the differences there. And then we kind of see her go back to that every now and then. And then obviously she jumps forward to her career and then her relationship with Dwayne and the kids. And yeah, so it was interesting that it was based on topics, and how it related to her life as she went on, instead of, like you said, chapter by chapter going through each point in her life. So that was definitely really interesting. So I guess we'll go into some discussion questions because I love to hear what you think about this. So, like I said, Gabrielle Union grew up in two separate worlds. She spent the school year at home in Pleasantville, a mostly white California suburb, and the summers in a black neighborhood in Omaha, Nebraska, with her extended family. So, Tessie, how do you think this duality affected her?
I think, like, on a very shallow level, I want to say that it probably helped with her acting career, having to try and act out and learn how to act as different personas. So the persona of trying to erase her blackness, which she talks a lot about when she was in California, and then trying to embrace it when she was in Omaha. Um, so I thought that was really interesting. So that's just like a shallow interpretation of that part, because she goes into it a lot deeper, and how it affects her life, having to basically try and assimilate when she was in her mostly white neighborhood, and how she got to the point that she wasn't a black person to them anymore. And she saw that as a sign of success. And I think later she implies that um, now she doesn't like the fact that she had to go through that.
Yeah.
Uh, so I thought that was really interesting. It was
Yeah,
a very interesting book.
it made you think. Like, I like that you said that it probably prepared her for being for going into her acting career, because it makes me think of certain experiences she had. So, like, big one she had talked about was her hairstylist when she first became an actress, how different some of the roles she had to play, where she would almost have to do her own hair because they didn't know how to do her natural hair. And then she started learning that she could wear wigs and she could do weaves, and it would help the, I guess, the stylists to, to do her up a lot better than what it was before. Or when you were talking, I was thinking of one of the scenes when she was a little bit older and she was living in Chicago, um, and when she was talking about how she would walk to the gym, and she figured that if she wore mittens, she wouldn't be considered a thug. And all she kept saying was, "I'm wearing mittens. I'm wearing mittens." And it was like she had to play that role. She figured that by wearing mittens, she became more normalized, and she wouldn't be pegged as a stereotype of a thug or whatever, in her, all black coat and her dark face. And I was like, wow, you don't think about stuff like that, but for her, having to experience that so young, it has affected her pretty much her entire life. And even now, how she talks to Dwayne's kids, she referred them as the black bombs, where she would let them know that you can't go outside alone late at night. Even in our neighborhood, our security guards will think you're up to no good. You guys can't, with your leash, you have to make sure that your thumb is in the leash so your hands can be splayed out if a cop comes near you. And so she definitely had brought those personas and everything into her life. And even now, trying to talk to her kids about, just because you are privileged, you are Dwayne Wade's kids, you also need to remember that not everyone is going to treat you like Dwayne Wade's kids. And so that was definitely a big theme in her book.
I appreciated her honesty when she was talking about issues for the Black community and what it meant to be Black. I feel like even in these times when people talk about it and they know about implicit bias and they know that discrimination exists and that sometimes you don't mean to be racist, but you're still racist. And I was really appreciative of the fact that she talks about it. So like no matter what reader she has reading her book. So if you're white and you don't realize people who are Black go through these things, then you get your eyes opened a little bit. But if you're Black, you can read these things and be like, oh yeah, I relate to that. So I think it was a very good part of her memoir that she talked about that stuff and that she was very blunt about it. So that was one of my...
Yeah. I love how blunt she is. I love her, I didn't realize she was so blunt and open and honest. And now that I know about her, it's like even more respect for her. She is very open and honest and blunt and willing to point out the disparities, especially when it comes to race.
And she's funny, which is even better.
Funny, yeah. She's very funny. She swears a lot in this book. And, as someone who's blunt, open, and honest, I like that. She's opening herself up to you. And, sometimes a little language comes out and that just makes you more human. One of the things that really hit me was, so in the chapter Open House, she reflects on her parents' relationship. So you finally see that her mother finally reaches her breaking point and decides to leave her father after years and years of major disconnect in their marriage. So why do you think her mother stayed in the marriage for so long, and how did both of these, that and finally her leaving, affect Gabrielle and her siblings?
Well, I think, first of all, it was sort of a generational thing. When she talks about her mother and, like, basically her grandmother, I remember the scene where she talks about where her mom had been complaining to her grandmother when she was still young that she was like, oh, I don't like this job, like, it's hard. And her grandmother was just like, suck it up. Like, that's just what you have to do.
Yeah.
That it was... I think the reason that she stayed so long in her marriage, it was just as she said in the book, her mom said in the book, that it was comfortable and she enjoyed having a nice life. And even if it wasn't perfect, like, it was comfortable and it was a nice house and it was a nice place to stay. And so I think that's a perfectly respectable reason. And when she reached her breaking point where she was like, I can't handle it anymore, and that's perfectly respectable reason too. So it seemed that later in the book that she still had a decent relationship with both of her parents, like definitely with her mom and still a decent relationship with her dad, despite the fact that they split up. And so it's just like, it just was opening up that sometimes real life is complicated and sometimes it's messy, which I think was also a message of her book, that even though these things happen and sometimes they're not the greatest, like sometimes you move on, it's like just a messy, complicated life. Yeah. Like it was it sounded like a real life story. Like it didn't sound like a movie story where everything just falls perfectly into place.
Yeah. No, I like that. We've been doing this a long time. I really want to. Yeah, I love this book too. So I really want to get some of those questions that we were talking about. Like, what did you think about the ending? Did you find it fitting? So for those of you who don't know, the ending was, we learned about one of her dear friends developing stage 4 metastatic breast cancer, and right at the end, she's talking to her friend on, I think, her deathbed, and her friend was telling her, don't be afraid to talk about things that scare you. If she would have gone to the doctor sooner, she was afraid to, who knows what could have happened. So at the end, she kind of just told her readers to not be afraid and to talk about things that make you afraid, that that you fear of, that you don't want to talk about. So did you felt like that ending kind of wrapped up her story, or what did you think?
Well, when we were talking about this earlier, I thought you brought up a really good point, was that the reason that she wrote this book was for her friend, which I didn't connect the dots to until you said that. So I think because she probably wrote this book for her friend, that ending it, that chapter with her friend's story and her life during that period of time, I think it was a really fitting ending, and it kind of explained why she was putting herself out there.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of brings us to the next question, is why do you think she wrote this book? And like I said before, I really do think that it was in inspiration and honor of her dear friend, because it made her think twice and go, I shouldn't be afraid to talk about the things I have dealt with because I don't want to talk about it, or I'm afraid to talk about it, or how other people are going to perceive it. It's just, life is short, as she has seen, especially with a lot of her friends dying in gang violence and everything, that maybe it's not right to keep everything bottled up and to be blunt and honest, exactly how she is being right now. Um, let's see. Ooh, what stories and memories did you relate to?
Mm, like, uh, the nature of a memoir is to just have it be relatable. And so a lot of her stories, she would talk about things, and I would be like, oh, like, I understand that. Like, it would, like, because it's her, like, human journey and, like, her human stories, a lot of it, I would say, like, oh, that makes sense. Like, I understand that. So a lot of, like, when she was younger, she was talking about, uh, like, grew up in Pleasanton. A lot of that when she was younger in her high school years, I could understand. And when she was older and a celebrity, obviously I can't relate to that as much. But um, so yeah, what about you?
Um, I think it probably kind of like you, it's probably more when she was younger, just, you know, her reaction to boys and what they thought of her and everything. And obviously, we grew up very differently, but at the same time we all went through those stages of, your self-worth, your self-assurance, and your self-confidence. So, and for her, having that duality and everything, she, for the longest time, she never saw herself as, beautiful or worthy or anything, which to me, when I look at her, I'm like, you're gorgeous. Like, I think you're one of the most gorgeous people on the planet. So, I can't relate in that way, but I could definitely relate to growing up and developing your self-assurance and your self-worth and your self-evaluation. And it's really hard to do for anybody, no matter what. So that was probably something I related. I had said before, one of my favorite things was learning about on the set of 10 Things I Hate About You, and her relationship with the cast and the crew, and to it's you I love hearing about things like that, especially behind the scenes, because it makes them more personal. It makes these people real people, not just those iconic characters and celebrities we see on screen. They were real kids and they were real people, and it was really cute. It was really sweet, and I love this book. It was amazing. I can't believe how much we enjoyed this book. But yeah, so okay. I think it's time to wrap up. Tessie, as always, thank you. I love your insight. I love your comments. I love having this discussion with you as always. It's a blast. Um, Please tune in on Monday, May 4th with May the 4th Be With You. Our 10 a.m. story time is going to be a Star Wars theme. So wear your Star Wars garb on Monday. I will. I'm pretty excited for that. Please tune in next Thursday, yes, next Thursday, May 7th at 1 o'clock, there's going to be another APL Mystery Reads where someone is going to read the first chapter of a book or the first 15 minutes, but the book and title will not, or the book title and author will not be revealed until the end. I love it. It's awesome. Don't forget, next week we actually have 2 book review discussions. We have a special session on May 6th at 1 o'clock. I think Tessie's going to be guest starring in that one. They are going to do a review of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone because it is still available on Hoopla. So that's going to be really exciting. And then next week, Friday, this time, we will be back and we will be doing the genre books in translation. We will be reading The Wild Geese by, can you say the name? Because I'm probably going to botch it.
Well,
Morio Guy? Morio Gay? Or Guy? Yeah.
I was gonna look it up specifically for next.
Okay, we'll
Yeah,
figure out how to say it next week. We'll be better next week. But yeah, as always, thank you for joining in. Please post your comments. If you haven't read the book, we highly recommend it. Have a good day. Stay safe, everyone. Happy Friday.